The Texas boom does not hide. New houses, new schools, new roads.
And it's just build, build, build.
And more people.
We're full.
But a new law you may have never heard of
It'll change the trajectory.
is supercharging the Texas transformation
Dropping entire cities out of the sky.
and changing how counties and cities grapple with growth.
It forces us to compete.
We've spent a year looking into this law, interviewing the politicians and the people. Will it make Texas more affordable, or does it raise the risk of growing pains? We'll cover it all, but we start with our report looking at how this law pits city versus city in the battle over the Texas boom. Welcome to Robert Bell's ranch. About 320 acres of big sky, big cattle, and bigger plans.
This whole area is kind of preparing for growth.
He wants to build houses, apartments, and retail here.
The cows are going to have to find a new home, I think.
It's easy to find this land on a map, straight west of Fort Worth on I-20. But where it is more complicated and more contentious. You see, the Bell Ranch is in this green area. It's called an ETJ. Not exactly part of the city of Fort Worth, but not just in Parker County either. It's an extraterritorial jurisdiction. The city has dibs over, is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, so that is a good way to put it.
Dana Bergdorf oversees development for Fort Worth, which had claim to Bell's land.
It was based on the promise that property would come into Fort Worth at some point and be developed.
The city worked out this deal in 2021 to help Bell develop the ranch. Then, in 23, lawmakers changed the rules, and all bets were off.
So at that point, the property owner was then able to work with adjacent communities to determine who would be able to offer them the best deal.
For Bell, it meant he could leave Fort Worth's ETJ behind and shop around for a new dance partner.
I got excited. I mean, we were very, very excited.
The city next door was ready to tango.
It's very rare you have government employees work past 5 o'clock on a Friday, but there were several Friday nights where we're up here in this conference room at 8:30, 9 o'clock trying to figure out how to make this thing work.
Brian Grimes manages the 6,500 resident city of Willow Park. He says the law allowing Bell's development to get hitched to them will change its trajectory.
I think the history of Willow Park will have two parts to it. It'll be pre-Robert Bell and post-Robert Bell.
They gave Bell a new development deal and promised to build out water and sewer infrastructure faster than Fort Worth.
We're small and nimble.
After seeing what other cities offered, Bell signed with Willow Park.
As like a landowner, whether you really care that much about which city it is.
But their happy marriage left Fort Worth and its development plans behind.
It's a Swiss cheese effect, I think is the best way to describe it.
Now there's a hole in the middle of the map of Fort Worth's future. Developments still in the city can now be right next to land now belonging to someone else.
It forces us to compete.
It changes how they plan for the future, how they budget their water, and how they view their neighbors. Already, Fort Worth has lost 4,000 acres of land it once had dibs on. Do you expect that number to grow?
I do, yes, I do.
They want the law to change, to protect places they've already started building infrastructure for. So it's the idea that we might put a lot of skin in the game and then be told the game's over before we're done.
That's correct.
But it's to the benefit of developers like Bell, who say the ability to find a better deal means their projects are more likely to happen.
100%, 1,000%, yes. Yes.
That is more certain now.
It's far more certain now, yes.
And when he's done building, Willow Park will now get the benefits. So if this law pits city versus city, now developers are getting into the fray. One of the biggest home builders in the country is suing one of the fastest growing counties in the state. The owner of 1,800 acres of land in Rockwall County opted out of the ETJ of McClendon-Chisholm, a small town that struggled with water supply issues for years. Now, there are plans to build thousands of homes on that land, and the county is trying to fight back.
That's just not Texan.
You may wonder
I'm really worried.
why County Judge Frank New
The ripples will go statewide.
is so worried
Then we wake up in a different world.
about this. 1,800 acres of empty land in southern Rockwall County.
For all intents and purposes, is a city. that this developer is wanting to just drop out of the sky.
He's worried about what's rising out of the tall grass. D.R. Horton, the Arlington-based largest home builder in the country, wants to build houses here, like it's doing down the street. News says thousands of houses.
In this case, 6,307 homes.
All those homes, he says, means new costs.
We need 10 more deputies, which means we need 5 more cars. And our schools have done a calculation. They're going to need a high school, a middle school, and a grade school.
And he's worried about water. He says this land used to be part of McClendon-Chisholm's territory. That city's faced water restrictions every summer for the past 3. Rockwall County wants the company to prove it's got enough resources and pitch in to pay for part of the county's costs.
Property taxes will take care of maintenance and operations. It doesn't take care of the infrastructure costs.
D.R. Horton sued. In court filings, it argues the county is putting unlawful conditions on its development and depriving the company of its protected property rights. D.R. Horton did not respond to our request for comment. Now, a judge will decide.
If they say the county does not have this authority, we're in trouble. And not just us, all counties in North Texas are in trouble.
A lot of worry about this land that doesn't have a lot on it yet. SB 2038, the law that made it possible to opt out of ETJs, was authored and pushed by Houston Republican Senator Paul Bettencourt. I started our interview by asking about the argument we just heard from the Rockwall County judge.
I disagree with the economic analysis of the judge. You have to have growth. You want growth. And if you don't have growth, there's plenty of examples of what a negative or no growth does to you. And those are intractable problems. Growth problems are easy to handle. Things change. And not having forced annexation was really a major change, which occurred last decade. This one really is catching up policy with the fact that you don't have a forced annexation policy. So why do you have effectively a big forced ETJ out around the city? And so I don't think the judge is understanding that this is going to happen anyway. Once the forcible annexation is gone, the growth is going to occur. Whether it's through a MUD or some other vehicle, you're going to have subdivisions that come, and the county's going to get a revenue, like lots of revenue.
Your revenue point is well taken, because that's one of the questions I asked the judge was, hey, if you're getting all this new property, you're going to have new property tax value that's theoretically going to pay for the new schools and the new roads and the new constables and sheriffs that you need. But I'm curious your point on whether the growth is inevitable, because with an ETJ, even without forced annexation, but with the ETJ, some of that growth would have been regulated before 2038, correct?
Well, no, it's still regulated. You've got state codes, you've got county codes. What you don't have is city regulation. The problem is city governments can make arbitrary and capricious decisions too. So that's why you have to balance the fact that property ownership means you own the property. And if you want to be annexed, just put up your hand and they'll annex you, or you'll have to have a discussion. If you don't want to be annexed, then say, get out of the ETJ. But you'll have to be working with some other form of government to make a subdivision actually function.
And what does it do for housing affordability, which is such an important part of all this?
Well, this is the key question. We're doing everything we can in the state to figure out how to help with housing affordability. But the number one thing you could do is increase supply of homes. When you have more homes, you've got less cost associated with it, and there's a competitive market to buy them. You have to let people build on their property as best as the market allows them to do it. And that's the way to get more housing affordability, is to increase the supply. And the landowner has to be on equal footing with the taxing unit. Otherwise, they just stay locked up for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And that doesn't help housing affordability whatsoever.
He says more houses means cheaper houses. That's music to the ears of housing advocates who don't always see eye to eye with the politicians and the Republican majority in Texas, but who say this law on ETJs is just one example of where their interests align. As Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed bill after bill sponsored by Republican lawmakers,
this session, Texas did more than any state in America to make housing more affordable.
he made into law policies that liberal housing advocates have wanted for years.
Housing scrambles battle lines, I think, more than other issues these days.
Adam Lamont pushes for more affordable housing and found himself among strange legislative bedfellows in Texas.
I was surprised at how willing a lot of Republicans were to really pick up the mantle and pass some of these things like SB 840.
That law allows apartment buildings in commercial areas, removing some local zoning control. Just like when they changed laws around ETJs, Republican lawmakers argue that loosening restrictions will allow developers to build more housing. But with a slate of new laws passed in 2025, they've encountered similar critiques as well, mostly from local governments, worried that the looser restrictions will mean they lose control over how much can be built and where.
Make no mistake, I have always supported more housing in this city.
Plano's city council put rules in place to require new developments under the law to be a certain height.
All we're saying is we want to set a standard of the quality of building that's being built and make them stand by that quality.
Other cities required amenities like pools and dog parks in an effort to limit new builds.
Ultimately, I think backfires, it just makes it harder and developers end up going elsewhere.
Lamont hopes state Republicans try to plug those loopholes in the future as an unusual political partnership plays out.
Intrigued. I think it's still early to really know the full effects.
But a law that changes across the state doesn't affect every place in the state the same. The fastest growing city in America is here in Texas, and it tried to rein in new development. But this ETJ law created a loophole big enough for a subdivision to fit through. And the mayor told us it undercut their efforts to control their future.
Watch your step a little bit. We have the lake over there, Lake Lavon, you can see real well.
The view didn't bring Ricky Elmore here, but it helped.
And it's nice, quiet. I can bring my telescope out here.
The tranquility is why he convinced his wife Shirley to move to Princeton nearly 40 years ago.
And she thought I was crazy. She goes, it's so desolate out there and everything. I said, honey, you gotta have a vision.
But he didn't see this coming.
I looked at the graph a while ago about the population, and it's doing this.
The Collin County town he moved to for quiet has made some noise as the fastest growing city in America.
We needed to slow down. I mean, you just be driving by, next thing you know, you'll see it. Everything just cleared out. They're either building a new school or 150 new houses.
Census data shows a 30% increase in population here in just 1 year.
A lot of the growth is unchecked right now, and it's just build, build, build.
Mayor Eugene Escobar wanted to pump the brakes. The city put in place a moratorium on new building permits last year.
Today is a critical point for Princeton to determine how you want to look. So putting the moratorium in place helps us catch up on the infrastructure, helps us plan the water, helps us plan how we want homes to look.
But for some, a new law made getting around the building ban easy. 2 years ago, legislators allowed people with property outside a city's limits, the red, but still in the buffer zone under some city control, in gray, to opt out of that sphere of influence.
So it doesn't really matter no more. They have the money, they have, the empowered, they can do whatever they want, and they don't understand what they're doing. It's affecting us.
And he says it undercut the building permit moratorium Princeton put in place. Data we reviewed found a spike in opt-outs, 36% higher after the ban.
Would you say this is the biggest issue Princeton faces?
Yes. It's the unchecked growth.
And now the legislature has put more restrictions on how cities can implement building permit bans. Princeton will end theirs at the end of the month.
How do you feel about that?
I think that what they're doing right now is taking the voice of the people away because people elect us to give them what they want.
Elmore says he can now see where all this growth is going.
And we're running out of detours while they're doing the construction.
He's considering moving out as thousands move here.
It don't take Nostradamus to figure that out, what it's going to look like. And I don't want a part of it.
Across Texas, people keep arriving. So many new neighbors means something's going to change. Whether this new law makes it more affordable to live here or whether it sets up chaos, as we've seen, depends on who you ask. And as always, time will be the ultimate judge. As it ticks on, we'll be watching.